Review copy provided by NIS America. For more information on the game, visit the link in the description down below. Greetings, gaming citizens. Mike here. With the recent rise in AI technology, people have been quick to call attention to the moral dilemma of artificial intelligence taking over humanity. While that may sound like hyperbole at first, it's hard to deny that AI has been getting pretty intelligent in recent years, and people are indeed seeing concerns about jobs being taken from people in favor of robots. We've seen games like Nier Automata tackle the theme of a dystopian future long after the extinction of humans with androids taking over. But Crymachina is a game that takes that setting and attempts to flip the script by having androids work to bring humanity back. This game was co-developed between Aquaria and FuRyu. If you recognize the latter name, you may remember their game Monarch, which I reviewed last year. If you have yet to see that, click the eye icon in the top right corner of the screen or in the description down below. Today, FuRyu is back with another RPG, specifically an action RPG this time around. Thanks to NIS America, I was able to play this game for a couple of weeks before release. Without further ado, let me present my first impressions on Crymachina. Before I even hit start, I was already presented with the game's unique personality. If you linger on the title screen, one of the main characters starts talking to you. I'll touch on this later, but personality is definitely one of the stronger aspects of this game. The story of Crymachina is bizarre, to say the least. In the 21st century, humanity is wiped out by what is referred to as centrifugal syndrome, a condition that starts with emotional stunting and eventually evolves into multiple organ failure. With a fatality rate of 100%, humans quickly go extinct, including our main character Leben Distel, who literally dies in the first few minutes of the game. So, game over, right? Well, not all hope is lost. Enter the Deus Ex Machina. The Deus Ex Machina are man-made gods, or androids built by mankind, with the primary purpose of restoring humanity. There are 8 in total, each serving its own purpose with the resurrection of humanity. Enoa, for example, is in charge of rebuilding the human psyche. They all maintain their tasks on Eden, a Dyson sphere that acts as a space station. Everything was going fine when, all of a sudden, the first Deus Ex Machina disappeared out of nowhere. This lack of order sends the Deus Ex Machina into a frenzy, pitting them against each other. But who will bring back the balance? Well, remember that main character who died? Turns out that upon her death, Enoa regenerated her personality data to bring her into the Imitation Garden, her virtual world. In this world, Leben is joined by 2 other individuals who also had their personality data collected by Enoa. The first is Mikoto Sengiku. A cool and collected type, Mikoto steps into any situation with confidence and the willingness to take on any challenge. Having spent a significant amount of time in Eden, Mikoto serves as a mentor for Leben and is a supportive character. The other individual is Ami Shido. Unable to fight due to extenuating circumstances, Ami is a compassionate and loving character who treasures her bonds with those she considers close. She even considers Enoa, Leben, and Mikoto to be family, with an especially strong attraction towards Mikoto. She also says that these characters are incredibly charming, especially during the tea segments seen throughout the game. Yes, you can have tea time with your party members, and yes, it is amazing and wholesome. These give you a small glimpse into the dynamic between characters, and they're generally nice little scenes to watch, almost like a good slice-of-life anime. I do find it a bit strange that you are required to sit and watch a few of these to continue the story, though. In Fire Emblem Three Houses, you could do tea parties to help rank up your support level with certain characters. Meanwhile, in this game, it just comes off as, watch these 3 cutscenes to progress. From the few hours I've put into the game so far, the story does feel well written, and has even made me feel emotional at times. After defeating the first Deus Ex Machina, Leben regains part of her memory from her previous life, namely that of her sister Yuri. Without detailing the exchange between the two, let's just say it really had me moved to see the close bond between the two sisters. Speaking of characters, That reminds me of another point I find interesting about this game. If you've browsed the official website or seen any of the trailers, you may have noticed the lack of male characters at all. This was inquired about in an interview with producer FuRyu Hayashi, and he had this to say. One reason for having an all-female main cast is to reduce the distractions that come with labels. I'm fond of love as a thematic, but I don't simply think being a man and woman together inherently justifies it. Similar to my previous point, I believe that seeing another person for their soul alone and holding affection for them is a beautiful way of being. I decided to simplify that concept by expressing it in this manner as a singular example. This is a concept I'm really compelled by, as exploring character relationships beyond the labels of what love is supposed to be is fascinating, especially in an interactive medium like games. All praise considered, there is one small nitpick I do have with the characters, and that's the voice acting. Make no mistake, the voices in this game are done really well, but there is no English dub for Crymachina. I don't want to draw too much attention to this, as it could very well be that FuRyu didn't have the bandwidth to recruit English VAs for this game, but it is unfortunate that there isn't any English dub available. While we're still talking about characters, the designs for the Day Ex Machina are really cool. So far, my personal favorite has been the 5th Day Ex Machina, Lethia. Maybe it's the colors or just his massive presence with all these blades and rings around him, but I find his design to be awesome. Moving on from character interactions, let's talk gameplay. Crymachina is a hack-and-slash action RPG at its core. Between the 3 playable characters, you can augment your loadout to be more defensive or offensive, as well as switch between short and long-range weapons. You also have familiar mechanics like dodging and counterattacks, with perfect dodges allowing you to rack up damage really quickly. Your character is already equipped with both a melee weapon and a gun, allowing you to use either at any time. The true customizability comes from the auxiliaries, which you can get from enemies. These are the weapons that float behind your characters, and they can vary in their functions. You can have them unleash a rapid-fire blast at enemies, or have them use a lot of power to fire a charged shot, just to name a few. Be careful though, as you may overheat from using these too much. What's nice about this feature is that you can customize the left and right sides, so you don't have to have the exact same ones on both sides. So if you want a rapid fire ability on the left, but have a charged shot on the right, you can do that. You can also enhance these auxiliaries further by equipping sentiments, which help you adjust your skills to play to your weapon's strengths. I really like this customizability, but it pains me to admit that the core gameplay is incredibly button mashy. While you could indeed have a well-crafted auxiliary loadout, the core combat is just hitting the same button over and over again. Another murky point I have about the gameplay is the leveling system. Throughout the game, you collect personality data from enemies in levels. In the Imitation Garden, this is converted to EXP and Ego, which are used to enhance your character's stats, just like in Monarch. While that's cool how you can level up individual stats, it would help if I knew what the stats actually were. Looking at the stats screen here, I can understand a few things, like willpower translating to attack, but some stats leave me scratching my head. What exactly is composure, and what relevance does it serve for my character? And what are all these stats that I can boost by spending Ego? Some of the stats make sense, such as boosting your recovery over time, but the other ones just leave me unsure of what I'm putting my Ego towards. Continuing the topic of repetition, I have to talk about the visual design of this game. I love anime art styles and sci-fi settings, but Crymachina suffers from generic and samey world design for all its levels. I remember saying something similar about Monarch's world design, but at least that game lets you traverse a hub world to some extent. With this game, it just feels empty and geometric compared to games like Scarlet Nexus, which had interactable elements in the levels and overworld traversal. Sure, you have sub-areas that are playable to get more resources to level up your characters, but you can't even walk around the Imitation Garden, which is basically your hub for all your leveling and character interactions. If we could at least go up to Inoa and have her open the menu for leveling up, or walk over to Mikoto to initiate a tea party, it would make the character interactions feel at least marginally more impactful than just scrolling menus with everyone in their idle animations in the background. I had high hopes for this game because I thought the story and characters were fantastic, but the repetitive gameplay loop and the subpar world design leave a lot to be desired, to the point where the lows outweigh the highs in this game's design. I think what FuRyu needs to do is put the same amount of effort into world building as they do with plot and characters. It's one thing to build an emotional narrative talking about the several domains of Eden and its Deus Ex Machina inhabitants, but it's another to create an Eden that we can explore as the player. I'm not saying put all your eggs in the visuals and graphics basket, but spending more time on places where the player can explore and traverse could go a long way for a narrative-driven RPG like Crymachina. If you don't want to take my word for it, there is a demo available for anyone wanting to give this game a try. I recommend playing the demo to determine for yourself whether or not you should pick this game up. Crymachina releases on October 24th on PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Nintendo Switch, and Steam in North America. Or by the time you're watching this video, it should already be out. It also comes out October 27th in Europe, Australia, and New Zealand. Once again, thanks to NIS America for the review copy. Stay vibing and thriving, everyone. I'll see you in the next one.